Mods are the backbone of VR. See, I told you this video loops. And they will change Rumble forever. Honestly, think about it. Here's my evidence in 5 points. 1. Look at Happy's library of videos. How many are based on a mod of a game instead of the actual game? I haven't done the research. I'm asking as a genuine question. Leave it in the comments.
This is such a fun map. I'm stressing. It's like...
2. Some of the best VR games are flat screen games that have been modded into VR. That was what my first Shoe Lesser video was about, before I abandoned all other VR games and just tripled down on Rumble. But Neon White, very, very good, and same with Outer Wilds. Those wouldn't exist without Raikapata converting them. And 3, now those scrappy modders from the flat to VR community have become their own official game studio to make official mods of games. You need to fact check what their first game coming out is. Number 4, even the idea of mods is so powerful, it keeps Bone Lab content alive. They promised almost a whole game engine worth of behind the scene kit at release to promote mods, and 2 years on that hasn't really happened yet, but still, people watch and wait for the dream of what Bone Labs could be with the ultimate mod ecosystem behind it. Half-Life Alyx kind of is like that, with the workshop content hosting some of the best VR FPS campaigns of any game. So good, one of those sets of maps is becoming its own standalone game. I'm kind of confusing mods, maps, and user-generated content as all the same thing, but you get the point I'm trying to make. Who doesn't love the idea that you can buy one game and then for free, anyone from anywhere can condense their creativity into the game, keeping you playing the game you love forever with new content? Like Blade and Sorcery, or 5 VR chat. I don't have anything else to say. But what does this have to do with that earthbending VR game? Hey, this is Shoeleast here, and this is the 3rd channel where there is no editing, just raw gameplay. The 2nd channel was meant to be less editing. That was a lie to myself. I don't know what I'm going to do with that channel. And the 1st channel, I'm tripling down on with another overproduced, over-budget, overworking myself and totally financially ruin me film. But that's a while away. So on Shoeleast, there is no editing because editing means less Rumble, and editing on Shoeleast means even more time waiting for the Shoe Less video. So this video is not edited. It's one take. Also, I've never asked you to do anything, but I will ask you to do something for me at the end of this video. Now, Rumble. I think we can all agree, whether you played it or not, Rumble is the best VR game ever made. And I don't think I'm being controversial when I say this, and I confidently speak for everyone. But if you think about it, it's kind of crazy that for 2 years, we have found so much entertainment and joy and new tech out of, on paper, a very bare bones game.
Modulate, pick its butt.
Nope, it didn't work.
And that's how you beat a cube.
I mean, there is the gym, there's one training robot, there's the park we can all play in, and there's 2 combat maps. With only one character, because we have a diversity issue in Rumble that's currently being solved. And that's it, like the 18 moves and some shift stones. That's crazy to me that the main thing in my life right now is that limited, and I've poured hundreds, almost 1,000 hours into playing it, plus even more editing and watching footage of it, and I'm not bored, and I still love it, and I don't even question it. Or I should say, it was that limited. Thanks to the crazy modding community of Rumble, we've already made countless quality of life improvements to the game, and are now pushing forward custom maps. I don't know all the people who've contributed specifically, but they're amazing. Like, I want to shout out SD, who's made tutorials for it, Ulvac, who's done so much of the modding framework, and people like Crowned, who are pushing forward more and more beautiful custom maps. Or you should definitely subscribe to Ulvac's channel if you want to subscribe to someone, because I don't need any more. Plus, I've paywalled the subscription button as a deterrent. And subscribe to SD too. He'll even tell you how to make maps. On Shoeleast, you get nothing but raw gameplay, so this is the clip dump of custom maps in the background, whilst we chat a bit as I build up to asking you that question. But more context.
Okay, I'm here.
Devs are working hard on the cosmetic update, which at a very minimum is 2 weeks away, and I pray it's soon. Remember, it's only 4 guys, and by some miracle, without even much playtesting, Rumble is amazing. But since it's 4 guys who are quite perfectionistic, things take a long time. I can relate. A lot. So, next on the roadmap of development is maps and modes. Need to fact check. So who knows how long that will take? At least another 2 weeks.
Oh, this just adds so much. I'm almost sad at how good this is. Do you ever have that experience before?
But this is where things get interesting. Modders, devs, players, and playtesting are going to have a unique relationship to one another in Rumble that doesn't happen very often in gaming communities, or at least none that I can think of off the top of my head. Not that I play any other games at Rumble right now. Because the modders have beat the devs to the punch for a key feature. And it's not just making maps, but it's also map mechanics. Even though we have 2 maps, each map drastically affects gameplay. The ring, obviously, you can fall off, and the pit, you can't. Plus, it has giant unspawnable boulders to beat everything. In my opinion, the pit has some issues. If you saw that video with Grand, it creates situations of camping at sweaty high levels of play, potentially. Because I think the game was developed around the ring. There's a push and pull to it. If you've got your back to the gutter, then you're gonna need to go forward, and that creates predictability that you can punish. Whereas in the pit, you can camp against the wall, and since structures break on the wall, there's a good chance things won't hit your hitbox and they'll hit the wall first, protecting you. But in custom maps,
The bank shot.
for some reason, the modders made the walls bouncy. So instead of breaking on the pit, they just hit and fall off. That means it's easy to hit someone who's camping against a wall. And also, over time, it leads to a lot of clutter building up against walls, making the edges more dangerous to play against, and not automatically safe like in the pit. Now, that's a map mechanic that solves the problem, only because modders sort of found it, and then I experienced it to articulate. And now I think that is the solution to the pit, is to have bouncy walls. Or at least that's one idea of a solution. Another example of an interesting map mechanic was in the last video of the Magic Missile Majors Grand Final. Kajo let me know just before we started that because of jank in the map design, thanks to Pep and Lachlan for designing it and all the amazing work they did with that tournament. I say jank in the map design, but map design is very quirky and hard right now. The modders are still learning the different ways floors interact, and, you know, they've got to do a lot of sciencing to fix it. So give some grace when there is jank. But it led to a happy accident, because on the cross map, there were certain sections where you couldn't summon discs or balls, because when you summon them, they come out of the ground. Pillars, cubes, and walls stay in the ground when you summon them. And inadvertently, that's become one of my favorite map features. I'll just call it a heavy soil area, because what this meant on the cross map was that I could set up hole traps, which normally can be easily disarmed with a single explode disc. But now, if I know someone's in a region of heavy soil where they can't summon the chip damage objects, it opens up creative playstyles, and there's more push and pull mechanics of forcing someone into an area they don't want to be. That's not necessarily binary pass or fail like the pit and like the ring and having the gutter to fall into. It's just advantageous and disadvantageous places to play from, which, yes, more complexity to the strategy. Like you saw at the start, the donut map is a crazy map that I love. It's so thrilling to play on quite a small area where nowhere is really safe. And the pillars in the museum map also led to really cool situations of placing traps and setting things up outside of your opponent's eye line. Even just changing the geometry from a circle map to a rectangle creates different lines of play. But let me get to my point. The devs are busy and work really hard on the cosmetics. They're going to take as much time as they need, and that's a good thing. The modders have outpaced the devs on the development roadmap. Now, what I find interesting about Rumble is that it's never been extensively playtested. But somehow, Rumble is more balanced than rock, paper, scissors. Probably because it's rock, rock, rock. It's not perfect. There are certain things that are maybe a bit strong. But overall, there's no guaranteed OP playstyle, which is really cool. But as they add more shift stones, more map mechanics, without extensively playtesting, there could be unbalanced. The devs have said in the future that they would like to have playtesting and probably only add new game features after extensive testing because, you know, in a fighting game, you release a new shift stone, it could change the entire meta in unexpected ways. So they know that and they want to work with players. Plus, they've proven that because the devs are extremely cool with asking for suggestions and player feedbacks and bug reports from the website they made. I don't know their opinions on mods and mapping fully, so take it with a grain of salt, but here's a picture I'm trying to paint. Devs, small team, super busy. Just double down on cosmetics. Modders are making maps. We, the passionate players, can playtest experimental features before the devs even get to dream up maps. So it means we could find things interesting to suggest to the devs that could be used in new official maps and map designs before they even get to that stage. Which, I don't know, feels cool. Feels like a win-win-win. Obviously, it's the devs' game and baby, and they'll always have the final say. But if we've done extensive testing to build arguments to prove why we like certain features and they're good for the overall game, then instead of testing features after they've launched and having periods of chaos that upend the meta, we can test these features now before that happens. But it's only possible if we, the players, are interested in using these mods. So this comes back to what I want to ask you. If you play Rumble, can you please install the custom maps mod? The good thing about it is, it only works if you queue with someone else who has that mod turned on. And you can turn it off at any time. You can also turn off specific maps you don't like. And as more and more people have that mod, passively, as we play the game we love, we'll be able to articulate what we like and don't like in maps, rather than just theorizing cool ideas that aren't tested ideas. We can actually test stuff now. I also think maybe it'd be cool to have a map of the week that we as a community decide to play, or someone says out, where we all try that new map each week. Because one small byproduct of anyone being able to create any map means that we can move too quickly to the fresh new thing and not truly run a map through its paces. Plus, we're just divided as a player base across too many maps, and then we don't really learn enough about what's mechanically interesting. So please, 2 things I've asked you: subscribe to Ulvac and get the map mod. Anyway, that's my little unedited rant. Fully in one take. There's no edits. Join the modding Discord and the map Discord for info on how to get the maps and mods. It can be scary if you've never done it before, but there's always someone there to answer your questions. I feel like I'm forgetting something though. Oh yeah. Did you know that you can make any video loop if at the end you just say, "And that's why